wholesome and just like needs to be protected at all costs. But alas, here we are, and I'm currently getting humbled. I don't hesitate when I say my future wife. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. I am very excited for today's video because I am filming another reading vlog, and this reading vlog is going to be very useful for me because I will be continuing / finishing series that I'm in the middle of. I've seen this type of video go around a ton lately, and I love to watch them because it is so satisfying seeing someone finish off a series. But I am definitely the type of reader that loves to start a series, doesn't really like to finish a series. So currently I am in the middle of 18 series. Now, that being said, I do have these broken out between series that I can continue and series that I am up to date in. So for series that I can actually continue and will be focusing on today, I'm in the middle of 13 series. Looking at this list, I was kind of surprised to see that mostly these are romances. If I had actually included all of the fantasy series that I have started over the past year and a half, I would easily have over 30 to 35 series. But I will say with fantasy series, I am extremely ruthless whenever it comes to DNFing them. Generally, if the first book, maybe 2 books can't hook me, I don't continue it on from there. But with romances, I feel like because there's so much less plot to keep track of in your mind, it's really easy to just pick up and put those down whenever you want. So that being said, the book we're going to start with today is going to be continuing on with the Belladonna series and reading Wisteria. This is a YA gothic fantasy where in books 1 and 2 we followed Signa Farrow, who is an orphan and has a very complex relationship with death. After her parents died at a young age, she was just passed on from caregiver to caregiver, and death has kind of followed her journey all throughout this. We even find out that she can see and speak to death, and he is personified within the story. And I feel like that is a really cool element throughout the series because not only is death personified, but a few other elements equivalent to that are also personified in the story. And in book 2, Foxglove, we kind of saw Signa and Death's story round out and the start of another character's story. Now, I am a little bit worried for how I'm going to talk about this book because being too open and honest about who our characters are will end up being a massive spoiler for the series. So I'm probably just going to address them as our FMC and our MMC, just in case anyone is also interested in this series. I don't want to ruin anything for you. But as I mentioned, these two, their story starts towards the middle and end of Foxglove. And what we're seeing at the start of Wisteria is very much a hate to love dynamic, a forced proximity marriage dynamic as well, with a lot of magical elements interweaved within the story. I'm absolutely loving it so far. I love Adalyn Grace's writing style. It's very lyrical and poetic and just overall beautiful. To me, it is the type of story that begs to be annotated. So I'm excited to go in and annotate and highlight some of my favorite quotes. This is the final main book in the trilogy, so once we read this, I can move this series to our up-to-date section because in a few months I do believe a holiday novella is being released named Holly, and that will then again add a book to our series list. For the other 2 books that I want to get to in this video, I am going to be sticking to my August TBR, and I plan on picking up Play Along by Liz Tomforde, which is continuing on with the Windy City sports romance series. And from there, picking up something from my physical TBR, you can actually see it just right there. But I'm going to continue on with book 3 and the Ember of the Ashes Quartet by hopefully reading A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. So hopefully you guys are excited. I think this video is going to be a good mix of genres, some fantasy, some romance, and hopefully finding some new faves. But for now, I'm going to go continue on with Wisteria, and we'll do a check-in in a little bit. I love the banter between these two. Truly, up until this point, like 10 chapters in, these two hate each other. And the start of chapter 10 just says, "I despise you." And he says, "Get in line." I love that we're not rushing into feelings. I feel like this will be a very well-paced book because of it. But just wanted to share because that is one of many examples of these two arguing with each other. time for a little 50% update. I am seriously loving this. These two and their dynamics are gonna end up making this my favorite book in the series. I just love a girl with spunk, and our FMC has such a strong will and so much attitude. The MMC literally calls her a devilish creature because she is just constantly fighting with him. But you guys know that I love banter, so it's just leading to so many fun interactions. We're starting to build slowly to some more soft and sweet moments between these two, and I am eating it up. I have been highlighting quite a bit in these recent sections, and mainly all from our MMC's POV. I found the most perfect tabs to go along with this cover, and I'm using blue for her POV and gold for his, because he's often described to be like the sun. And my last 7 tabs in a row were all in gold, so very, very happy with how this is going. And I feel like luckily our FMC just came to a realization about a pretty big plot point, and I'm glad that we got this at 50% of the way through and it wasn't dragged on for longer throughout the novel, because I feel like if this was our only thing that we were working towards, I would have been a little bit bored. But so far so good. I am really, really loving Wisteria. And shockingly, even though this is very much a gothic romantasy, I think this is such a good summer read. If I was gonna give you guys the perfect reading time order if you are a seasonal mood reader, Belladonna is definitely the most gothic out of them all. I actually found some really stunning fan art for Belladonna today. So this is what Belladonna's vibe is. I would say that this is a great January, February read. Foxglove, where we're melding into the storylines of both characters, I would say is a great late spring, so maybe end of March, April time. And then this really is giving late spring, summer energy to me. The fan art for this is just so much brighter and golden and angelic almost in a way. So if you love very atmospheric, lush writing, I truly think this is worth picking up. I've never read anything else by Adalyn Grace. I don't know if she has any other series, but she has a fan in me. I really love what she's done with this series, and I think it's only gotten better with each book. Guys, this was so cute. I'm so glad that I decided to prioritize this series, because I feel like this was easily a story that I could have put off since it does follow a different character. It took quite a turn at the end. I thought our resolution was going to involve a different character, but nonetheless, I'm very happy with how it ended, and the last line in this book is just exquisite. I'm gonna save official ratings for the very end, but definitely within that 4-star territory, maybe a little bit above. But this was so wholesome and just like needs to be protected at all costs. If you're gonna pick it up, consider my reading schedule, because I think that will have maximum impact. But if you're impatient like me and you want to pick it up right away, I still think that this will be a great time. I think this is just a very fun play on a love story, considering it's not fully human. Both of our male main characters have these magical deity elements to them, and it just adds a lot of uniqueness to the story, which again, I really enjoyed and I would definitely recommend. So now it is time to check off the Belladonna series from the series that I need to continue, and we get to move it down to our up-to-date section. But now it is time to continue on with our next book of the video, which is going to be Play Along by Liz Tomforde. This is the Windy City series, which is an interconnected collection of sports romances following different athletes in Chicago. It started off with a hockey romance, from there it was a basketball romance, and now we've had back-to-back baseball romances. In book 3 we followed Kai, and in book 4 we're following Isaiah, who is Kai's brother. We did see quite a bit of Isaiah and who the love interest is going to be in book 3. Definitely there was some heavy-handed hinting at their relationship dynamic. What I'm getting from is that Isaiah is going to be like very playful, very much golden retriever vibes, and he is down bad for our FMC, who I believe her name is Kennedy. I think there's a little drunken night in Vegas, marriage of convenience that takes place, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this book, see how far we can get, and hopefully this is a good time. I originally wanted to read the rest of this book all today, but judging by the fact that it is already 4:30 p.m., I don't think that's going to be the case. So we're just gonna try and make as big of a dent as we can. These are generally pretty easy reads to get through. However, sometimes Liz Tomforde can be a little long-winded. So we'll see how that translates with this book. We are on page 12 and I'm already smiling. We're getting a flashback to the first time they ever meet, and his teammates are seeing her for the first time, and one of the teammates says, "So who is she?" On this day where everything feels like a sign, I don't hesitate when I say my future wife. Guys, I think this is gonna be my favorite one. Guys, we need to talk, because what is in these words? I'm obsessed. I'm coming to you at 60% of the way through, fresh after crying at Kai's speech. I feel like I mentioned this quite a bit, but not only am I like a very harsh rater, but I also never cry at books. It's very hard for a book to impact me on that level. But I think why Kai's speech was so emotional is because obviously book 3 we follow Kai's story. So everything that he references in that speech we have such a connection to. And then when he gets to the part of his speech addressing Isaiah, tears. Just tears streaming down my face. I don't even know what to say. Can almost pretty confidently tell you that this is going to be 5 stars. Literally last night I was already telling my friend and Hunter how much I was obsessed with this, even though I was only at 20%, and then it's just only getting better as I move forward. Literally in chapter 1 it is a drunken night in Vegas marriage plot, and they kind of have to just play along with this idea so that Kennedy isn't at risk of losing her job with the team. I will say the first time play along was used in the story, I did like it because I love whenever you see the title worked into the story. However, at 60%, I think the term play along has been used at least 5 or 6 times. So maybe we're doing a little bit too much with the title at this point. I think we could probably cut that out from here on out, but that's me being extremely nitpicky and finding just something to complain about to you guys. Otherwise, I fear I'm going to be obsessed with these two. I fear there's not going to be any topping this within the story. I hoped this would be good, but I really wasn't expecting this to be so great, considering I think book 3 was my least favorite book in the series so far, just because I really didn't love the setup of Kai and his love interest story. But it's a totally different ballgame with Isaiah because he has just been pining after Kennedy for so long, and he is the epitome of boy obsessed, but he's also so emotionally intelligent and takes care of her so well and makes her feel so safe and comfortable. That is my 60% of the way update. I think it's only up from here, but I will keep you guys updated with how the last 40% goes in our next check-in. Okay Okay friends, it is update time because not only have I finished Play Along, but I am also 2/3 of the way through our next book. So let's debrief. Honestly, Play Along was so good. I absolutely loved it. Definitely by far my favorite book in the Windy City series. I just feel like Isaiah was such a perfect male main character for me. However, I will say, I think a little bit of what took away from the story was Kennedy's plotline. A lot of the things going on with her background and her family history just didn't really relate to me. So there were a lot of actions and choices she made that I did find a little bit frustrating because I just couldn't really relate to her thought process on that. I think overall, me and this author, we really get along whenever it comes to male main characters, but I don't love her female main characters as much. My favorite female character was definitely Stevie in book 1, but like Indy and Miller that we see in books 2 and 3, I really actually didn't love them. And Kennedy was okay to me. So I will say that I have been thinking about this rating. On my first check-in, I felt really confident that it was going to be a 5 stars. While the rating is really, really good, I'm not sure if it's a 5 stars. But I'm going to leave you on that cliffhanger until the end of the video. And for now, let's chat about A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. For a quick plot synopsis, this is a really dark YA fantasy novel. Originally in book 1, we just get 2 characters' POVs. Our female main character is named Laya, and she is from a family of scholars. The scholars are currently being oppressed within this world by the Martial Empire, and our male main character, Elias, is a trainee at the Martial Empire's top training academy called Blackcliff Academy. And after Laya goes through something horrific, she is forced to be a spy within Blackcliff Academy. And while they're there, their 2 plotlines converge. And basically all hell breaks loose after that. I gave books 2 and 3 a 4 stars because I do enjoy the series, but holy cow, check your trigger warnings before you enter into this. So many triggers to be aware of. This is a very dark and cruel world, and some of the atrocities that have been taking place just continue into book 3. Now at this point, we do have an additional POV named Helene. She is part of the Martial Empire. She was a trainee with Elias, and they were very close friends. At this point, the 3 of them kind of all have their different storylines going on. Most of the time in this book, we're just following them in different places, doing different things, and very briefly, we'll get moments of their stories intertwining. But at this point, I think I can say that Helene is definitely my favorite character. I'm not really loving what we're getting from Elias and Laya right now. It just feels like we get a lot of riddles and half answers whenever we're in their point of views, and we're not really making any progress throughout this book. Now, I won't tell a lie, Helene was making me feel the same way earlier, but luckily kind of at like the 50-55% mark, things started changing for her. But yeah, I genuinely couldn't do an update at 50% because I was so frustrated with all of our characters. Everyone is just super strong-willed and headstrong, honestly to their detriment. It's frustrating to watch their decision-making at some points because clearly characters around them will warn them of certain actions, and yet they will not heed those warnings and they just continue on charting their course. And I was describing this to my friend as it felt very much equivalent to Queen of Shadows and Throne of Glass, where just like everything was going wrong for all of our characters and it just felt like we were in such chaos. And Queen of Shadows was not my favorite book, so I'm not feeling as confident with this one. This definitely doesn't feel like my favorite one in the series, and I only have a 1/3 of it left, so I'm not feeling super confident. It's not going terrible, but I'm just I'm frustrated. And I do think I meant to feel a little bit frustrated, but this book just hasn't been as enjoyable to get through. The Ember and the Ashes series is a 4-part series, and I feel like we probably could have condensed it down into 3 books. There's a lot of what happened in book 2 that just felt very elongated, and I feel similarly in this. I feel like there's some storylines that we could have progressed a little bit quicker and condensed down just a bit. So that will be my update for now. I am hoping that I can finish this book today. Sidebar, this reading vlog has taken me like 3 days longer than I wanted it to take me. I always start reading vlogs with the best of intentions and thinking that I'm gonna be able to read so much faster than I actually do. Not sure why I thought I could read 3 full books just in 3 days while I had so many other things planned. But alas, here we are, and I'm currently getting humbled. So I'm putting myself on a strict deadline today. I need to do everything in my power to finish this book by the end of the day. I have now finished A Reaper at the Gates, so that means it is the end of today's video. So let's wrap up and chat about the books that I read. I feel like we were on such a high from the first 2 books that unfortunately this book really let me down. I was not expecting to feel as frustrated throughout the story as I ended up being. Honestly, in each character's point of views, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong throughout this entire book. I don't feel like we had any wins or really any beacon of hopes to look forward to throughout these 450 pages. And by the end, that just got incredibly frustrating and exhausting. So because of all those feelings, I'm actually gonna end up rating this a 3 stars, which feels really harsh, but I just can't justify a higher rating at this point. And I actually went on Goodreads to see if anyone else was feeling this way, and I found a review that I really resonate with. I'm going to put it up on screen as I talk about it, but the part that stuck with me the most is, I get that a story is meant to have opposition. A character grows and develops through it and because of it. Without opposition, there would be no resolution. But I also feel that it is important for a character to have hope and to have success along the way. Some light at the end of the tunnel to encourage a reader to continue reading and become invested. So when multiple characters are constantly struggling and failing at every turn for nearly 500 pages, it gets so discouraging and annoying. Not one single thing goes right in this story, causing me to forever associate this book with the massive amounts of frustration and negativity I felt whilst reading it. And honestly, I just couldn't agree more. With how much was going wrong, I did not want to pick this up, and it brought me massive amounts of anxiety while reading. I low-key at one point asked myself if I wanted to DNF this, but I decided not to. I pushed through, and at this point I only have 1 book left in the series. With the state our characters are at right now and it all just being so bad, I need to see how this wraps up, and hopefully at least one of them has a happy ending. But definitely by far this was my least favorite book of the series and also of the video. Going back to the start, I read Wisteria by Adalyn Grace. This was so fun to me because I really loved our characters' dynamics. The writing is absolutely stunning throughout this entire series, extremely immersive and atmospheric, so it really feels like you were there with our characters. Ended up rating this a 4.25 because it is my favorite in the series and I have rated the others a 4 stars, so I wanted to give it just a little bit of a boost, but I don't think it made enough of a lasting impact to justify a 4.5 or 5-star rating. And then finally, that would leave Play Along by Liz Tomforde. Such a good book. This is such a good sports romance with a good dose of spice, but a lot of emotional depth to it as well. I will say with a lot of interconnected series, it's not necessary to read all of the books in the series, but if you are interested in Play Along, please at least read Caught Up, which is book 3, because Isaiah and Kai's stories are so closely intertwined. I think you'll still be able to get a lot of that emotional impact with quite a few less pages read. I really debated giving Play Along a 5 stars because I loved Isaiah so much, but something with Kennedy held me back just a little bit. I don't think I was able to resonate and connect with her as much as I needed to for it to be a 5-star read. So I'm giving Play Along the strongest 4.5-star rating. I debated being super annoying and giving it a 4.75, but I feel like that would just be too much with already how I rated Wisteria. So we're going to settle on a 4.5 for Play Along, but it is definitely my favorite in the series. So if we think back to my series tracker at the start of this video, I had 13 series that I needed to continue. With finishing off the Belladonna series, I was able to move Belladonna down to my up-to-date section. So that leaves me with 12 series that I'm actively in the middle of. And with continuing the Windy City series, instead of 2 more books that I need to get to, I only have 1. And with the Ember Quartet, instead of 2 more books that I need to get to, I only have 1. So there's actually quite a few series on this list where I only have 1 more book to finish them off. So if you guys do like this video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below and we can definitely do this again. I had a really good time continuing the series I am in the middle of, so this is where I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe before you leave so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye guys!